And a pleasant good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our special podcast where this is the day before the election, where you decide tomorrow who you will vote for at the polls. And so we are here at Harbor's Souls Conquering Church here in North Birmingham. The address is 2507 24th Avenue North, where the pastor is Kathy Stringer Jenkins. She has been a pastor at this great church for about 2 years, and we are so excited for her to allow us to use her facilities to broadcast live here. And so here we have one of our partners here, Patricia Bell from Bell Innovations, and take it away.
Hi, everybody. I know you didn't know we were having a reception. This is election eve, and I know you enjoyed that wonderful music where we are celebrating an election because, voting is so important, and voters are the most important people in our society. As you saw on the commercial that you've been hearing all day, we know that voters are the most important because if you don't have people who vote, you can't have a civilized society. And today we talk with some of the judges who are going to be on the ballot tomorrow. And if you haven't picked up your ballot, you need to find one before you go tomorrow so you can make an intelligent decision about who will lead our government. Because whoever represents your government is representative of you. And if your government is not operating properly, then it means that you are representing you with less than the best of government's leadership. So we were expecting some of these judges to get the link. The link is on the flyer that you will see. And you come in and tell the people why they should vote for you. Why shouldn't you be the judge? I was hoping that Judge Christie would call in. I understand he's running for District 24. Is that correct? Chris Christie. I wanted him and Ms. Powell to explain to you why a judge is so important. They're both Christian people. We want the voters to know that judges weren't created by the government. Judges were created by God. When he created the earth, he set up judges to create a civilization, not only to show us how to live on earth, to live on earth, but to show us how to live on earth, how to be civilized. So it was the creation of God. Judges in the book of Judges proves that. So we're so happy that Pastor Happy, longtime schoolmate friend, and just a neighbor, godly woman said, Sister Pat, my church is for the community. And I will open to do what God has called her to do, former FBI worker and paid setter. High school paid setter too. And she has been committed like a blood sister to me. So now we are sisters in the gospel in Christ. And she has taken on this mission to do what she says God called her to do. She said she didn't want to pastor this church, but she felt that God needed her. And there are a lot of ministries around here. They all need it. And thank God she opened up today because we're having this election eve reception. We're excited about being a voter because we know how important it is to be a voter. That's really more important than being a judge. That's just my personal opinion.
So, why is it so important for people to go to the polls tomorrow?
Well, when you vote tomorrow, you're making a decision. Who is going to govern Alabama? Who is going to represent us at the national level? And then it means the whole world depends on America. We're still considered the leading nation in the world. So therefore, we have to get the best representative. When you vote, you're voting for the right kind of school. You're voting for the right type of law enforcement. If you don't have law enforcement, you are setting up nothing but hoodlumville. If you think you have hoodlumville I'm talking about gangsters, killers, and murderers and robbers with the police, what do you think we would have if we did not have law enforcement, judges, and a system that God created to run a civilized society? So that's why it's so important to vote. And when you don't vote, you are taking away your womanhood. You are putting down, it's a dereliction of duty. The children can't vote. So it is upon us as adults that we must do it. And we're doing it for the sake of our streets, for the sake of our sewers not flooding, and for the sake of everything that happens in making sure that the lines are open and that we are functioning as a civilized society. That's why we are voting, to make everything to run smoothly, to have better neighborhoods, better streets, better electricity, everything operating in a dignified, civilized manner.
Now, we know there are a lot of candidates that can't work hard right now, but once you're done, stop on by to New Souls Harbor Conquering Church, 2507 24th Avenue North. We are broadcasting live, and we're letting people know, hey, you need to get out to vote tomorrow. I know it's calling for rain all week. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. Don't let the rain stop you from going to the polls. Don't let the rain stop you from going to the polls. It's very important that we elect the people that we feel that's going to best represent us. This is the primary election. And so where are you getting your information? So one of the things that we got here is a voter's election guide for Jefferson County, your nonstop shop for all of the people who are running for office in Jefferson County. And this was put together by our great friends at Greater Birmingham Ministry. So they are responsible for putting this guide together. And there will be people going from polls to polls offering these election guides. So if you still don't know who to vote for, there will be lots of people out there providing information from you from all different sources. This is one of the pieces of information that would be distributed on the election guide that would be presented. And just to give you an idea of some of the people that are running, so we have U.S. Senate candidates, we have U.S. House of Representatives, and we have great gubernatorial candidates. There are a lot of women that are running this year. That's historic for the state of Alabama. And on the Democratic side, we have not one, not two, but three African-American women that are running. This is the first time in Alabama history that an African-American woman is running for governor. And we have three of them. Among them are Yolanda Flowers, Malika Sanders Fortier, and Tricia Salter Jameson. Those are the three African-American women that are running for governor. And that is a historic moment. We also have a pair of women that are running on the Republican side. We have the incumbent Kay Ivey, and we have the challenger Lindy Blanchard. So based on this guide, there are 5 women that are running for governor. 3 of them are African American.
Yes, indeed.
So indeed, that is historic. So we have Attorney General, we have Secretary of State, and some of these do not have Democratic challengers. Some of these do not have Democratic challengers. Some of them do not have Democratic primaries, and they automatically go to the general election. And so they're not going to be presented in this guide. But we also have a whole lot of members from the Alabama State Legislature, from the State Senate to the State House of Representatives. Again, there are lots of women, African-American women that are running in the primary, and that is historic for the state of Alabama. And why is that so important, Pat, in that you are an African-American?
Yes, I am an African-American woman. I became the first woman, black or white, to run for mayor of the city of Birmingham. And actually, when I did it, I didn't think about the fact that I was the first. In fact, I didn't know it until Channel 6 interviewed me and told me, Ms. Bell, you just made history in the city of Birmingham. And then, of course, I was happy to know that I'd made history because, like Pastor Kathy said, I was just doing what I felt led of God to do. It had nothing to do with my gender. But once I realized the importance of being a female, at that time, we had our first African-American mayor of Arlington. And they were saying that I shouldn't do it. He had a PhD. I said, but 70% of the families here are led by women, and they are black like me. I think that's one of the gubernatorial candidates coming in. And so this is why it's so important. When you have 70% of homes headed by women, 70% of the homes that are headed by women, what better way to represent the government than with a woman? If the women are 70% leading the homes, why shouldn't the women be in leadership in government? Do you think that? I think that's fair. Don't you think so, Mr. Williams? Don't you think it's fair? If women are running 70% of our homes, surely they can run the government.
Well, it's perfectly clear that that women are underrepresented in government. There's the percentage of women who are in political positions is much lower than men. And so to see that amount of women that are running for state, county, and local offices, it is absolutely wonderful. Now, Secretary of State John Maris predicted that it's going to be 35% turnout at the election. So what would you like to say about that?
I think we're becoming a more educated electorate. We're becoming much more knowledgeable, and especially the millennials, the younger voters. They don't want to vote ignorantly. They want to know why am I voting for you? What do you want to do? And what have you done for me lately? They are serious. They're so serious. And so 25% means we're picking up speed. They're going to the polls to make sure that that we're not making a mistake in our, because like I said earlier, whoever is representing us, it says something about us. If they are not conducting government justly, with equality, then it is not the leadership. It is those of us who put them there who are guilty. And so, yes, I'm glad it's going to be a better turnout he's predicting. And he's not even running again, is he?
No, he's not running again. The Secretary of State position will be an open seat. But there are no Democrats that are running the Secretary of State. So the primary will consist of all Republicans. But we do have one gubernatorial candidate that has joined us today.
Okay.
Tricia Salter Jameson, one of 6 Democratic candidates that are running for governor for the state of Alabama and one of 3 African-American women that are running. And so as she comes up to us today, I have one of her cards, if you can see it. And she's come on here right now. Ms. Jameson, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. So we'll just let you have the spotlight and tell everybody who you are and why you're running.
I'm Patricia Salter Jameson, a Democratic candidate for governor, and I am running to unite Alabama and to help make Alabama better.
Why should people vote for you? So what makes you stand out from all the other candidates?
My platform is, number one, what I believe that this is the reason why people should vote for me is because, number one, I want to implement livable wages for all of Alabama. I would like to make Alabama whole. I would also like to improve our education, and not just improve it, but that would have equality as well as equity in education statewide, so that our children would not have to be bused across our towns or bused in other areas in order to receive a quality education. We should provide that in our neighborhoods. Also, I would like to improve the salaries, increase the salaries for our educators and the support staff. I would like to also implement the education lottery. To do so, I would like to expand Medicaid. I would like to implement prison reform, decriminalize marijuana, and also when we decriminalize marijuana, we decrease the prison population, and that brings in the prison reform. And when we talk about reform, I also want to focus on the mental health of the inmates, because that's an area where they have been overlooked. So I would like to implement into our prison system, our Department of Justice, evidence-based mental health facilities or centers in each facility in our state. I would also like to see the healthcare improved in our prisons and completely eliminate the privatization of our prison system, so we can get rid of the big businesses. And also, I would like to look at the prison sentences, and some of our sentences that they receive have been unjust. So what I would like to do is go revisit, have some of those inmates retried. Those cases need to be retried. The ones that have been incarcerated for marijuana, just because they had personal marijuana use. You all know that they have been incarcerated on trumped up charges. So what I would like to see happen is for those young men and young women those young men and young women, those cases to be expunged, them being then they are discharged or released rather. And when they are released, they are given back their rights as citizens. They're given back the right to vote, that they no longer have to be looked at as felons because we have erased the records. We also would like to implement in our prison system, we want to implement vocational and trades, that type of training, so when they are discharged, they will have the capability of making livable wages, middle class income, and then they would not have that revolving door. We will close it. I had an opportunity of talking with a young lady just today, Keith, down in Baldwin County, and she was telling me about her nephew that went to prison, and he made some bad choices with some marijuana and some other drugs, but he was trained in welding, but now he had a state charge and federal charge. So when he had to leave the state institution to go to the federal institution, the federal prison taught him welding. Now the young man is at home. He has not gone back to prison. He is a productive citizen. They have a middle class living. Why? Because it worked. The system worked. And so I want to take that same system that's working in the federal to work in the state. And that's what we are missing. We're missing that. And we want to treat them like they are first-class citizens and not less than humans, less than animals. And that's what we've been seeing. And I also would like to decrease or minimize the disparities in healthcare, you all. What we have is, excuse me, you'll notice that in certain areas, the accessibility of healthcare is not available. We cannot even provide good healthcare for our citizens in rural areas because some of them have to drive 50, 60 miles to get healthcare. So, excuse me. So if we would be able to expand the role of the nurse practitioner to utilize either he or her in the rural areas, we will be able to provide for those people quality healthcare, and they would have that accessibility, but also like to implement mental health care centers in every state. And when we implement them, I would like for us to see no charge for our citizens who do not have insurance, to be denied the accessibility to mental health care, because we have a mental health pandemic right now. And a lot of our inmates are in prison because of an underlying mental problem. That same lady that I spoke with today, she was telling me about another nephew that had bipolar disorder, and he needed to be treated. And because he was not treated for the bipolar, he committed crimes, and he was then, excuse me, incarcerated and not treated. So we need to treat the mental health disorder. And that's why I believe that I, excuse me, am a good candidate for the job. Because you all, when I sit at the table, I represent you and you and you. But when I have a seat at the table, you will have a seat and you will have a voice. Because my motto is Alabama United. Because we can do better if we are united.
Oh, that was very impressive. So, can you tell about Patricia Salter Jameson, person? Who is Patricia Salter Jameson?
Thank you. I am, again, Patricia Salter Jameson. I am a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I'm a great-grandmother of one. I am a nurse. I'm also, excuse me, I am also a certified cancer registrar. I am a certified clinical health coach. I have a BS degree in biopsychology, health and development. I'm also an ordained minister of the gospel. And I have been in healthcare, and I say I have been a public servant all of my adult life. I'm not a professional politician, but I am a servant of the people. And that's who I am. And that's what you'll get in me if you elect me as your next governor, a servant. Because I believe that if you are the leader, you should be the servant. That's the greatest leader is the greatest servant. So that's why I'm a servant. So I want you to look at me and say, well, you know, she's a servant leader. That's the seat that I have and the stance that I have, servant leader. That's who I am.
We now open up the floor to any questions that you may have for Patricia Jameson at this time, or if you'd like to make a comment. Now is the time to do so.
Yes, ma'am.
Program in the jails and things like that. And I think all such money they come up. But you think about, I know I have one really fun money put aside for people of color who do stuff for those crazy from way back then. And nobody adjusted, have like addressed it, no ability to come to that. So therefore, my question, how do you feel about money being regulated specifically to help us with mental illness? Because it's documented. At the Impact Bill, it's a big old graveyard because we're getting sun up, sun down, and buried out there, not counting justice. And now our children are going to jail still based on the same person. So that cannot be believed. What do you think about that? Like towards that specifically? That's how I think they are exclusive.
That's a very good question. And what I would like to see is, it's a part of like reparation, right? Where we would implement the mental health facilities in communities of color to address those issues, because in our neighborhoods or our communities, we've had such a stigma. You know, it's looked upon or frowned upon to say you have a mental disorder or you have a mental health challenge. Those need to be addressed. We need to address that. I am all in support of the government doing that, of the state funding that. And that's why I mentioned earlier that we would have the accessibility to those facilities would not be based upon your ability to pay. Because whether you have the money to pay, you have those issues there. Say, for example, if I commit a crime, but what's driving the crime rate is my mental disorder, then the state has no problem incarcerating
You're on mute. I can't hear you. You're on mute. I still can't hear you. I can't hear you at all. Can you hear me? Hey, Pat, you hear me?
Yes.
So I don't hear you, but I do hear you over the telephone.
Okay. We are having a little technical difficulties with the microphone here, but you can't hear me.
I hear you over the telephone.
Okay. Right. So, of course, we do apologize for the technical difficulties here. This is actually the first time we have done this in this capacity. So we hope everyone will bear with us as we continue this discussion. So this is the eve before the election, and we have Democratic Patricia Salter Jensen right here on my right, and to my left we have Chris Christie, who's running for Jefferson County Circuit Judge to place 21. Chris, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you.
Can you introduce yourself and let everyone know why you introduce yourself?
My name is Chris Christie, and I am the original Chris Christie, born 3 years before the guy in New Jersey who tried to take my name. I am running, frankly, as a way to serve, and I had some people ask me to run. After having been asked to run, two people I relied on the most were my wife and my preacher, my minister. And my wife said that this was something she thought God had been preparing me to do for the last 3 decades. And my minister also was very encouraged. You know, like a lot of things, there's more than one reason I decided to do it. I thought also that I would enjoy the different type of work that I would be doing compared to practicing law, which I've been doing for 34 years. And so it was something that I thought that I should do, and I thought I would enjoy doing.
So, I'm not sure basically why they have like place numbers for a particular office.
I can't explain it, but the explanation is dull. What happened is that they, over the years, would add new places in Jefferson County, new judicial places. Every time they would add a new place, it would get the next number. And so you have both the Birmingham Division and the Bessemer Cutoff Division in the Jefferson County Circuit Court. And the place number doesn't tell you whether it's in the Bessemer Cutoff. It doesn't tell you whether it's a civil position or a criminal position or a domestic relations / family division. All it tells you is that it was the next. And so you have the Bessemer Cutoff Division, Jefferson County Circuit Court, and the place number. All right, so the phone got cut off, and I see that my mic is working now, so good, but the phone's not working also because we're getting some feedback.
We're trying to get you back on the phone.
All right, would you rather me be on the phone?
Yes, you're good. So if you haven't mentioned it already, what would you like to tell the voters on the 24th? I know what you're getting feedback. So the sound comes through the computer, it's just on right now. You know, the main thing I would like to tell the voters is go vote tomorrow. You know, voting is a very precious right, and people tend to now sometimes take it for granted. And so I would encourage everyone to vote. Every time you have an opportunity, you know, feel like to complain about this or that, but if you say they will let it go, and you didn't vote, you don't have any right to complain. And I just hope people will treasure the vote, the right to vote, to where tomorrow they will go and vote. Are there any questions for Chris Christie at this time? I can hear you, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Any other questions and comments? And again, we do apologize for the technical difficulties here. Again, this is the first time we are doing this, and hopefully we will improve, on it. So this is a learning curve for us, and so we hope that next time that we have one of these podcasts, we would do better. Yes, go ahead. I'm glad to be on it. I hear you can clear it. So, hey, we're here. So, I mean, if you like, here, so if you like, seeing us be, holding phones, don't mind us. We are using that for audio. So, we got to do this. So, we're not per se, how would I say it? Perfect. Yeah. Put it that way. We're not perfect, but hopefully we can get the job done. So, if anyone else have anything they would like to say? To Christy. Well, thank you so much. You're welcome to, I know if you have any questions for our gubernatorial candidate, Chris. No, I hadn't thought about it at the beginning of the time. I had she asked questions. She's like, y'all going to ask me, y'all can ask you.
Yes, okay. Yes. We talked about it before you called in on the Zoom, and it has to do with the way the judges were created. Many people in government started this. And I should mention your name earlier. I said, now, this Christie is a godly man. I'm sure he can help us to understand that judges were really created for God. Exactly. Long ago, government said, came up with the idea.
I would say God and city government overall. Right. And, one thing that people forget is that what we think of as the nation of Israel when it first came into the promised land, before there was King Saul and then King David, they actually spent about 400 years being ruled by judges. And so those judges were similar to what we consider judges to be, but they also had sort of more authority. And the only real government that the new nation of Israel had, the 12 tribes in the promised land, the first really 400 years after they got there, after wandering in the desert 40 years, they'd be established. And this is really what the book of Judges is about, is the time period before Israel had a king. The judges really were the source of the authority that God used to govern, to help people govern themselves. And so I think that that's interesting to think about how, I guess if God was deciding the structure of your government, he might do what was done to those 400 years in Israel before the Israelites sort of acquired and asked God over and over again for king. King Saul, King David, King
Well, I think voters understood that voting has a lot to do with keeping a civilization, keeping our world a civilized world. I think we get more participants. People understood the significance of voting, shaping our civilization. Am I far-fetched in saying that?
The way that the government that we have here in the United States is organized, yes. But I think periods of history where different types of government have been used. And democracy is, I think, the form of government overall has its problems, just like any other institution may run. And anytime you get people involved, you're going to have problems. But because democracy has checks and balances, and you don't have people who can get into power easily and manipulate things to their advantage totally, then I think the form of government we have, democracy, is the best form that has come up and man has been able to use so far. Again, God is to government to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And in the sense of humans.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. That was just, it helps to clear my mind. I just needed to have that explanation. And I said, I know you'll be able to help us. Thank you so much.
I don't have seminary, but I have a lot of Bible studies. So.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And we're going to go on with our reception. This is a reception podcast, motivating people to get out tomorrow, 7 o'clock, to beat the doors down. You're doing it for your babies, doing it for your children, doing it for the elderly, doing it for all of the citizens. And that's why Keith and I, we have a sponsor here. One of the business owners, or female business owner, works for the district attorney, and she's a clerk there, getting ready to retire. She's helping sponsors this afternoon, Mr. Christie, and we are hoping to hear from her. And a pastor of the church, we're so grateful to Pastor Kathy for opening up the facility for the community to come in and get the knowledge, and so that we can impart this knowledge to the candidates, to the citizens. Once again, Christie, we'll be calling on you and praying for you and wishing you the best for this district that you're running for.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I always welcome prayers.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much for being on. That was is running for Jefferson County Circuit Court Judge, place 21. Did I get it right? Okay. Sometimes I get those place numbers, mixed up. So real quick before you go now, these place numbers, does that represent what type of, duties that you would be doing?
Historical artifacts, historical elements, when they would need a new civil judge, once they would get a new number, when they would add a new civil judge, you would get the next number. And so place 21 is a civil position, which means that the judge that place hears civil cases that would be in front of a jury. You might think about automobile accident, medical malpractice claim, business dispute, any kind of contractual dispute that we heard by a jury be in front of this judge. Civil jury trials is basically what this judge would hear.
Great. James, do you have any questions for Mr. Christie?
No, not at this time. Thank you so very much. I wish you all of the success tomorrow, Miss. And I just want to encourage all of the voters to get out and vote. And we're asking for your votes. So just know that you have the power to change things. If you're not happy with the way things are being done, then you have the power to change it. You can make it happen. So please get out and vote.
James said, and I will tell you that it is really a sacrifice. But oftentimes it takes to people and to Dothan and hospitals and Scottsboro and wherever else you've been. And so I really want to respect people who put in the effort for my state. Thank you for that.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, Chris Christie, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. On Zoom. I know that we will. Thank you for your valuable information that you have presented to us, Chris Christie, ladies and gentlemen. And so, here, join us by Zoom. We are so grateful here. And at this time, we will have one of our host sponsors to come up and say a few words. Okay, so let's turn this over. Okay. Let's see, here we go. This is Stephanie Muhammad. And tell everybody who you are.
Yes, my name is Stephanie Muhammad, and I'm the owner of Mecca Occupied Society in Chester, Alabama. And I'm born this year. Like I said, high school and you're the back page helper, and we love high school. I like to do that. I'm a trailblazer, and I still am. So I'm proud of those roots. And like I said, now I own Mecca Occupied Society. It's a massage parlor that massage for so it really pain and relax and rejuvenate your whole body, make you feel like a new woman and man. So come on by and engage in massage. And if you mention that you heard about me here on this podcast, I give you $5 off of $5 off value massage off alcohol. So I'm glad to be here. I'm always glad to support Ms. Pat and Keith. They are working in the community trying to get the best voters from you to learn about so you can make an educated decision and not just go to polls when I know who the people are. I'm impressed with Ms. Jennifer here and South here. Oh gosh, she's the woman after my own heart. So I specifically her our governor. If you don't know anybody else, okay? And again, I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to say this conference. I'll be looking forward to seeing you all come in at this fun. And 1110 in North Charleston Road, Trussville, Alabama, Suite 104. And ask me, Stephanie. That'd be my pleasure. Traditional massage and it can be too hard on the even touching you in places we may do. We just talk about we all use machines. It's a machine. It's like a 10-minute situation. We don't even lay down face down. You have the aroma smells coming up from your nose there from the incidents there. And then also we have earphones on you when you hear some relaxing music. Really calming. And then we down this chemical only which contains water that allows our jets to come across your inside the head. And a lot of people when they get in there, a lot of people get into the zone and you like this.
I know I tried to use one of the machines and I literally was knocked out.
You say everything is pain and relaxes you and you let your whole body. That is the truth.
Sure, trust me. You heard it first here, testimony. Knocked out like after 15 minutes.
The sessions will be for 15 minutes. And that's too, if you do sessions for 15 minutes, I usually use 5 minutes extra because I really feel like a 20-minute session is really good for at least minutes. And then you got the 30-minute sessions, 45-minute sessions, and an hour. Okay? I recommend you put this right on your list, right up there with your hair, your nails, And even healthcare. I got to tell you a story, y'all. I got to tell you a story. Okay. My husband and I, in 2019, July 2019, we went to Gatlinburg to beautify our anniversary. And so I was sitting outside of my building. I saw them on playing this video of this machine, working, the machine. I got curious, so I said, let me go ahead and check it out. And so I went and checked it out, and I enjoyed it. And at the same time, I was looking for something to go business with. I didn't want to go into just something like food, because everybody does food. I was looking for something to eat. And also, I prayed. I just did prayed so hard. And I was so nervous. I kept on praying, what have you. But after I had gotten the machine, I said, hey, I'm trying this here. So that was like in July. So August, I had the machine. And I started off in Western Hills Mall. For those of y'all who remember me from Western Hills Mall, I started over in that neighborhood first. I enjoyed the associates and things like that. But because of the disarray in that area, I was forced to move. Okay? So that's what was okay. I moved to Trustfield. I'm happy with that. I'm happy now. And so that's what made me, that's how I got into that business. And also, too, I was blessed to know, too. Now, that's the only God would know this, right? I started that July, that was August 2019 when I got my machine, right? I didn't know it was coming that we all were going to be, have to wear masks. I don't heard about diseases like that. But I had just started news. How would we wipe down out there everybody? We already had wiping down out there everybody. Okay, so God knew. I didn't know what God knew, but that's what led me to the business, and I kept praying, and He gave me confirmation on it. So being obedient, like I try to be. Yes, I'm blessed, and also you are blessed people too, because like you said, and also Miss Jameson was saying, I hope people have so much mental illness. This machine forces you to stop and relax. And you need to work on your mind. You relax, and you can pray, you can think, you can inhale, exhale, and we calm. We are first. We are first. So I come and try. Again, if you listen to this podcast, I give $5 off. Thank you all. Thank you.
We have to get Elder Jenkins to say a few words. So come on over here and sit in the hot seat. Say a few words to everyone here who is watching you on Facebook. We just thank you for allowing us to use your facility to do this podcast. I know we had some technical difficulties, but I'm the type of person that I'm not going to give up. I'm going to make it right no matter how difficult it may be, because this is what people need. People need to, we want to do our best to provide information about the candidates, and we want to encourage you that are watching out there, and those who are not watching will probably be watching the archive. It's so important that you go to the polls and vote. They say there's a race tomorrow, but don't let the race stop. Exercise your cognitive right and go to the polls and vote. So, Elder Jenkins would like to say a few words.
I just want to say this is very educational to say. I was a little tired, just a whole lot from yesterday. And I thank God for leading me to go and allow me to take this bill, so asking me about what you've done here. And you and everybody, so it's been just a good evening. And not realizing it was your first time, but it was a scripture, preacher, so I got to get something about this is the scripture says that in all your ways acknowledge me, and I'll direct your path. And for me, it is kind of it's mentioned that I didn't want to do this, I ran from it. And I was sitting there, the Holy Spirit brought everything to mind. I told you about the political before, and I'm like, oh, this is a spell. So, it's amazing. I had an uncle, I think he was probably the first black mayor, Judge Stringer, was the first black mayor of Hobson City, Alabama. And our family, blessing able, and so many of us, we were able to pool money together for him to go out there. And people say he's a preacher, he should be out there. But I'm telling you, the scripture talks so much about when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Why? Not because you're so holy that have, but because you fear God, and when you don't know what to do, the Father will instruct you what to do. And there's a scripture that's talking. I'm a little bit different about. I'm so glad that there are women candidates. I wasn't aware of things that you shared earlier.
Yeah, we have a lot of women candidates, right? They are running, and 3 African American women who are running for governor.
Yes. And I celebrate that, because this is the thing. If the government, the scripture talks about government being set upon your shoulders, God is putting people. I mean, if you can't say a man, it's nothing. And I don't want to be good about our brothers. I tell in this church, most of the guys off the street that they come. God just told me, he said, you just open the doors and let me do it. He said, don't look for members. I'm trying to get members so you can out like Moses did. Moses got in trouble about numbering the people because the people can buff you up. So many people. And actually, I probably had more people coming in here because of the pandemic. Those churches were closed. But I'm saying this to you, to us, that God he's doing it's a new thing. It's not new to him, but it's a new thing. And God will refuse. Our God, let's say my God, our God refuses for his plan to fall to the ground. So yes, I do believe it's the perfect will of God, that the men of God, that the male agenda be doing what they need to do. And I know we say this and that is how we have to do, but God set us free. God opened the door. We love our first love, and that's something. Everybody I've heard, even the judge, principal, everybody was. I mean, I'm excited. It makes it hard for the children because listen, there are people. If you get a God-fearing person in these offices, then I believe that they do wrong. I believe the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit on the inside will clear them. And I think they're changing. I don't care what your opinion is. I don't care what we got to forgive. You know, we got to forgive, and we have to go on. You know, so I believe the plan of God is being done. I believe God is using people strategically in this hour. I see people that come through here. Yes, I don't say people, street people. I say people on the street because most of them got somewhere to go. And I've been to some of them homes. Some of them have had this summer, as you were speaking about. Somebody was speaking about. Many of them that come through here. I went to one guy's house. He just has, when he does his offering that he's been put in church, he has an address. And one day he asked me could I take him home. He lived in one of those beautiful houses on Bush Hill. But what happened was one of the children got involved with the drugs and with the gang, and all of them got involved in the gang. And so they shut up their house, and all of them were just about, they're fearful to live in their own house. So they're on the streets. Because then you have so many different things going on. Greed, whether it's a police officer or whoever it is, I turn down anybody. We have to watch the spirit of greed, not just greed, just be greedy for money. It's the manipulation, the things we do, and the straight out things that are wrong. That's wrong to kill the other family members because somebody got killed your family member. So I mean, if we keep doing this, I think this is one of the problems that's happening in our race as a whole. So I'm just grateful to hear this is stirring up. It is a part of what I'm doing. Here. And so I didn't realize I was going to be housing people that were concerned in that area. And so I just thank God that I believe that the candidates that are here, especially those that sacrifices came by, I mean, this is a big step for us as a people. And then I thank God for God fearing. It just welcome all of you to come. Ms. Bill said, it may be somebody coming to church. Well, if they did, and I just decided to come to agreement because I'm in this community. And even though all the other houses are gone, there's a lot of people in this community. Even by your cars being out there tonight, it's a lot of people, and they're looking. We almost like we're not. It's almost like we've lost hope. So when you hear people, once you get these positions, and I know it will not be easy. Anytime coming into the brain and you're using it will not be easy. There will be, but you have to. We get our wisdom, not the world wisdom, but the wisdom of God from reading our Bibles and learning from the example that's already come. Jesus said, I came and lo, I came to buy you. So I still here just came out of 21 day revival. Men's revival, God said, honor the black men. And we just came out. We did it. We broke it up. I was going to go straight 21 days. I have been out in Trustfield on Trust Circus Road. And he told me to do it for 21 days. And he said to give gifts to the men from him. So he did that. And we allowed the men to come in and teach the men. Because most of the guys out here are men that's on the street. So I just thank God for what he did and how he moved. And that was a movement. And I see this being a movement and stirring up. When people, we're not so fearful. We can pray and find the spirit of fear. Because a lot of people just really afraid. It's almost like hearing your counselor. Most people think they just got automatic quality. But if you read the book, you find out that's a possibility. At least you can ask. And sometimes we spend so much in these bodies in our earlier years. And then so when things happen, again, sometimes I say, Lord, forgive me so much for doing this so much. So you can't separate out there. It's God's got to be in the midst of it. I just want to thank you all for coming.
I was going to ask you, can you tell a little bit about your church ministry? But you already did. So I don't have to, you don't have to explain it. You already have that. So I guess the last thing is before we let you go is, what do you want to tell the voters?
Voters, go vote. Get up early, go, because if you don't get distracted and you may miss out going to vote. Make the sacrifice. I pray that the rain will hold up at 12 o'clock so they can go we got to ask him for that. So you won't have no excuses. Seek him early. Seek him early. Do things early. Be on time. And it pays to get on up to the video. And whatever you're doing, you have longer in the day, you can enjoy the day. But we do say that we do. It's very important. I heard somebody say if you don't vote, then we have no reason to complain. You can't play in the ball game. You're contracted, you just can't do whatever. So that's how I think.
Elder Jenkins, thank you so much. And how can people find?
Okay, how can they find me?
Yes.
We're basically here at 2507 24th Street North on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Worship and PPP, where we are doing prayer. Kind of just let the Holy lead us. Not totally traditional, but we just let the Holy Spirit lead us in the way the services go. So we do preach the word, we do testimonies, we do Sunday school, depending on whatever. Because a lot of people at Sunday school in the earlier years, and I think that's something that's missing too, because we don't take our children to Sunday school. My mom sent me to these, I went. And so it's foundational. It made me not just say I love God, but I like it. I may not agree with what he does, but hey, if I hold on, if I just obey him, it's so fulfilled. I'm having the best time of my life.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Elder. 3507 24th Avenue North, right off of Fannie Boulevard. And we're going to get ready to close out here. And I just want to say a couple of things. So we're coming to the close of our podcast today. If you still have not decided who you want to vote for, here's the tip. We got this election guide. If you live in Jefferson County, which was done by Great Birmingham Ministries, is power-packed with information on all of the candidates, not just Democratic candidates, but also Republican candidates. So you got that. You can contact Great Birmingham Ministries if you need a voter's guide. That number is in area code 205 326 6821. Again, that's area code 205 326 6821. And they'll make sure that you get a voter's guide. So it looks like this. Also, too, if you go to the Australian broadcast section Facebook page, what I have done since the beginning of May is create a series of blogs called Those Dancing Spotlights. And these blogs gives detailed information about all of our Democratic candidates. Why I decided to do that? Because I had a call from a candidate who says, "Sir, we're not getting enough exposure in your media." And so, after sleeping and praying, this is what the Lord wanted me to do. So, from May 2nd to roughly about May 12th, each day I have created a blog and gave a detailed description of all of the Democratic candidates that are running from governor, county commissioners here in Jefferson County, school board for the state in Jefferson County, as well as U.S. Senate, U.S. House of Representatives, state Senate, state House of Representatives, your sheriff candidates, your judicial candidates, and the list goes on. So please go to www.facebook.com/Australian broadcast section. It's all spelled out in lowercase letters. And scroll down until you can find those blogs. So we have 9 regular blogs, then we have a bonus blog talking about the executive cabinet positions that are on the ballot as well. And also, too, there's an amendment that's on the ballot as well. Do y'all know what that amendment is?
It's about the state laws, I think.
Yeah, it's supposed to set aside $85 billion for improvement, for preservation of state parks. And put in the comments what you think about that as well. I'm not telling people to vote yes, I'm not telling people to vote no, but that's pretty much what it is. So the controversy is that they're trying to use that money to preserve Confederate monuments. So this is what I'm hearing after doing my research. You know, a lot of people are voting no, knowing that. But again, we're not telling you to vote yes, we're not telling you to vote no. So we're just letting you know exactly what that is. And you know, in a nutshell, because normally when amendments are on the ballot, they are very vague to the point that people just don't understand it. So I wouldn't be a disservice if I didn't make this podcast and not explain to you what that amendment is. So class, what's that amendment again?
It was saying, and we wish those who have down there representing us, but it brings us to
yes, that would have been great. So without anything further to say, we're going to go ahead and close out. And as you're watching this podcast, go ahead and shout out your candidate. Or if you don't have a particular candidate that leans towards us, just put their names in chat. Let them know that we're here. And if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. And like I said, this is the first time that we have done a podcast in this capacity. So we had a few difficulties, but nevertheless, we continue to go forward and do what we have to do. And hopefully you have enjoyed yourself on today. Again, we have Patricia Salter Jameson here. Give us a good look at her one more time. So much for being here today. And we also have on Zoom Chris Christie, who is running for Jefferson County Circuit Court Judge, race number 21. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And if you are a candidate, go ahead and shout out to yourselves on Facebook. Right. Is there anything you'd like to say before we close out?
Just thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I was a little disappointed that some of the people who are representing us did not participate. However, that's why we're voting tomorrow, because we want representatives who will show up when we need them to impart knowledge to us. As the candidate said earlier, Ms. Jameson, this is the time to make changes that you want. Don't complain. Do something about it. And so we're going to close out with our theme song, which you found for us. I enjoyed listening to that commercial that we put together. And we hope all of you will realize this is a celebration, it's a reception. It's election Eve. An election Eve reception. So we want to do it in a celebratory way. We're excited about it, but we're representing our grandchildren. They can't vote tomorrow, so I'm doing it. We're doing it for them.
Okay, so one more time, we're gonna play this for you. So that concludes our podcast for today. It's Election Eve. And don't forget, tomorrow, May 24th, go to the polls and vote. Just like all of us here, that we agree. If you don't vote, don't complain. Again, if you don't vote, don't complain. All right, so I'm looking at this one more time. Yeah, we done. Y'all can see that. Thank you so much for coming out today. And for those of you who joined us on Zoom, it seems that voting elections are the most important because all the decisions that are made on the local level. So don't forget that. And so while the meeting is playing, go ahead and shout out your candidate. Celebration. They've been on the road for days, hours at a time, and counting on hundreds and maybe thousands of boards. So let's celebrate all of our candidates. They have made the ultimate sacrifice to run, and that within itself is permissible. So no matter what the circumstances are, like some people said, I don't have enough resources or I don't have enough money. The fact of the matter is that you stepped up to run. We salute. No matter who you are, and no matter what office you're running for, we salute all of our candidates. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to join us on Wednesday, May the 25th, as we wrap up the 2022 primary elections. We'll have who won, who lost, and what's the next step, and we'll give you a preview of the November general election. So until then, I'm Keith Williams. Thank you so much for watching.